Okay, good day and welcome back. Today I've got the 1959 Minneapolis Moline 445 out to play, and let me show you what we're going to be doing. So I've got the J670 sickle bar mower hooked up to the drawbar. In the last video I talked about finding a 10A 79 cylinder for it at the LeSueur swap meet. Now I'm trying to piece it together so that I can prove concept before I actually tear this thing down to paint it and fix the little bit that needs to be fixed. We've got some hoses that I pulled off of the cylinder, the 10A 80 that I had purchased just for that rear seal for the Z. I happen to remember that I had these laying around. They are not in good shape, and I'm not expecting a lot out of them. I'm just crossing my fingers and hoping that we could maybe run this cylinder without too much of a mess, but I don't know how that's going to work out. But anyway, it pieced together what I need to try to make the cylinder work. We got two main things we need to take care of to make this all work and function the way it's supposed to, and most of it has to do with the tractor and not the sickle bar. Thing number one is I have a leak in my 3-point lift on this, and I've only actually run it a handful of times since I restored this in 2015. But my guess is it's more of a seal issue than it is like a hole or a rust pinhole or anything like that. So we're going to try to address that today. And what I've got for that is I picked up a bottle of this Lucas Oil hydraulic boost and leak stop. So we're going to give that a try. I've done a little bit of reading online, and it sounds like you put 10 to 20% in mixed with regular hydraulic fluid. So this typically would take around a gallon in the 3-point lift. However, now that I've got that cylinder and those lines hooked up, it's going to probably take double that. So we'll fill it a ways, at least until we get some flow out of everything, and then we'll mix in some of this. The other thing that it said is you're not supposed to fill it and let it sit. It's supposed to be worked. So we're going to get it filled, and then we'll work the hydraulics for a while and just see what we end up with to see if we can seal up this 3-point. Be really useful if it was. So that's thing number one. Thing number two is in the PTO. So the clutch in this on the PTO is stuck. I don't believe that it's super stuck, but there's probably some rust on the plates, and they're stuck together. So it won't be this video, but potentially another one. We're going to hook this up to something and run it really well to get the clutch plates good and warm, and then we're going to see if we can snap that thing in and out and get that to free up. If we can get it to free up, then I can have the shaft hooked up, and I can have this thing fully functional for Moline. The work that needs to be done on the J670, it obviously needs to be sandblasted and painted. I already got a new belt for it. I did that when we first got it. The U-joints are probably all going to have to be replaced along this shaft, and then I'm probably going to have to find a different shaft to put here, because running it on this tractor, it makes this brace lean way forward. So it actually does all the telescoping of the shaft for your different size tractors underneath this shield, and then this would pivot back and forth depending on how you needed that to hook up. And with mine, it has to lean way forward, and I'd rather have this sitting more upright. So I've got other shafts. I'll probably just put a different shaft on there. It's going to need a new end point anyway. And then this steel cover is going to need a lot of love. It is pretty dinged up and dented up, and it's supposed to telescope, right? So this plate slides inside of this plate, and then that would allow the shield to move along with the PTO shaft when you would adjust it. But it's all seized up, and until I can get the thing straightened out, I'm probably not going to be able to get it to budge. I'm going to really take my time on it because it's a nice piece. Once it's all cleaned up and painted and has stickers on it, it's going to look really nice, but it's going to take some love. It's got new tires. I put new tires on it when we brought it home, so we're good there. And then as far as the actual cutters themselves, since this is going to be more of a display piece than actually functional, I'm thinking right now I'm just going to disassemble the whole bar together, and then I'm going to find some type of tray or trough that I can lay it in with some rust remover and just let it soak for, I don't know, a month, and see how it looks coming out, and then just kind of leave it at that. I have no idea what condition the cylinder's in as far as the seals and races. We're going to hopefully find out here in a minute. And then this should have a big drawbar hitch that comes down. I think I have it somewhere. If I don't, I'm probably going to rebuild it. So it's got a PTO on it, and then it would have its own drawbar hitch, and the idea was that you could pull another attachment behind this. The other attachment would have probably been a hay conditioner. I've got some literature both on the J670 and a hay conditioner. Okay, so here's the literature I've got for the J670. So this is the front of the flyer. This is the back of the flyer. This says that you can get a 6 or a 7 foot cutting blade. I believe I have the 7. And then it's covered for your safety, right? So it's got good detail of what's supposed to be stickered or possibly stenciled on that top cover. And then we talked about the drawbar that would come off the back. Like I said, I think I have it, and if I don't, then I'm gonna make one. I've got the parts manual so that I at least know what was supposed to be on there. And then we talked about that drawbar. So this is more than likely what would have been pulled behind that drawbar. So it's a hay conditioner. And yeah, it would link up to the drawbar, hook up to the PTO, and then it would sweep all of the trimmings to the side so that you could come by with a baler. Now, they didn't use just a hay conditioner by itself for very long. Eventually, they went to the conditioner and the cutter all together. So this would have been its predecessor, the MC950 mower and conditioner. But I think it would be really neat to get my hands on one of these and see if the whole thing would work all together. I'd imagine it'll work just fine, but sure would be fun to try it. I've been watching a little bit. I haven't seen one like on auction or anything yet, but if I do, I think I'm going to scoop it up because I think that would be a neat display piece, if nothing else, to have them both together. Alright, I'm just putting some oil in before I start it. I've got a 5-gallon bucket pump, so it makes this a lot cleaner and a lot easier. The only problem is I don't have good visibility on how much I put in. So I think we'll go ahead and start it and see if we're getting any lift. going to put some of this in. didn't leak. But it does look like I've got a little bit of a leak right on that front race. Okay, I think we've got this bracket where we want it. I guess I was under the impression that everything articulated together, but it doesn't. Alright, now what we're going to do is take the rest of that leak stop and put it in Old Smoky and see if we can seal up some of the issues we got with that, so I'm not losing hydraulic fluid all the time. We'll check back in a couple of days and see if we still have hydraulic fluid in there. It's looking pretty promising because I seem to remember the reason that this paint is missing is because that's where the hydraulic fluid was running down the last time that it leaked. But I guess we'll see. Alright, I already got my oil level bungs out. I'm going to put what I have left of this old hydraulic fluid in before I put the new stuff in. Okay. There it is. Alright. So plug that one. the red stuff. Doesn't look like we're quite going to get it up to the second bung, but that's all right. It's probably not quite 20%, but I don't think it's going to stop the leaks in this thing anyway, so we're just going to leave her be. I did find out that this is a lull loader. Lull is usually affiliated with like telehandlers and big forklifts, right? They started in 1959, and in 1970 they were building material handlers for off-road type equipment. They didn't start getting into the telehandlers and larger forklifts until the late 80s. So that's where this came from. Okay. All right, I scraped a mark in there so that we know where it was, and then we'll check it after I run it for a while. Was supposed to soften up seals and soften up the hoses a little bit, so I'm going to work it here this afternoon for a while, and then we'll check that oil level again and see where it's at. I'll bring you back in a little bit. Okay, old Smokey and I have been running around for about 5 hours, moving stuff out of one shed and into another and working the bucket, so it's time to see just how much fluid we've lost. Now I know I've got a pretty good leak back here still. You can see it pooling up underneath the valve there. And then the power steering I filled, and it felt really good, and then towards the end of all the running around it was starting to feel kind of tight again. So I have a feeling Old Smokey has won this round, but we are gonna check our level here and just see how much we actually lost. There's our mark right there. Okay. Now I gotta find the mark again. Oh, mark is right there. Hey, that's not bad. That's not bad. That's half an inch, if that. which with that size tank, maybe half a gallon. Yeah, maybe half a gallon. You know what, I'll take that. If I only have to put a half a gallon in each time, and especially if I'm running for 5 hours with it, I'll consider that a small victory. It's not a win. Old Smoky gets the win on this one. But all right, so that's going to do it for this one. The next one, I'm not really sure what it's going to be yet, so you'll be as surprised as I am. Thanks for supporting the channel. I appreciate it, and take your foot off the clutch. Thanks, everybody.